Good evening, and welcome to Go with the Flow with Swalo. And today, my guest is no one other than Miss Veronica. Miss Veronica, of course, she came from our Clubhouse family, our self care awareness that we do on Saturdays on Clubhouse. And I love Miss Veronica because she never gives up. She keeps going regardless of how people may say that she's I don't want to say quote unquote disabled, but um to me she's a go-getter. Um and again, like I said, I look up to her a lot. And I'm grateful that you are here. I'm thankful that you came in and said that you wanted to be heard and on tonight's segment. Usually we record during the day, but like I said, we're switching things up a little bit. So welcome, Veronica. How are you?
I'm doing good, Suelo. It's good to be here, and thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I want to. Okay, so again, it's go with the flow, and I don't know how things are gonna go. I don't like to, rehearse or anything like that. But since we are here, there's a lot of people in life that they feel that life is so hard. They feel that life is so complicated, and they just can't do anything. Um, but Veronica, with you, if you don't mind sharing a little bit of your story, because th- what this podcast is about, honestly, is getting people to know their own strength, to to get people to know that we are individual leaders. We don't have to necessarily be followers, or just because someone gives us a diagnosis, or we have, well, we may be different, but we still can conquer and overcome things that people don't think that we can. And I tell you this, on Saturdays when we meet, on how much I respect you and the things that you do, and you not giving up. So with that being said, I'm probably sure you wasn't ready for
My
that.
life story. My life story. All right. So I was born fully sighted, healthy baby, 9 pounds 2 ounces, and everything was going well, and uh, my parents are immigrants to Canada. My sister and I were born in Canada, in different cities, but we were born here in this country. And when I was, well, 3 years old, when I was almost four, um, my mom started noticing how I would miss certain things. Like I would say, "Where's this drink?" or whatever, and she would say, "Oh, it's right in front of you." And I would say, "Oh, yeah, okay." And then at some point my knee was really hurting me and my dad had to carry me, and they were like, it's not common for a almost 4-year-old to have to be carried. So my parents started the doctor journey. So they went to three doctors in the end, all in pretty quick succession. And all were saying, oh, she looks healthy, she looks fine, everything is good. But my mom could tell something was off. And the third doctor said, well, send her to a CT scan just in case. And I went, and within a week, I had emergency surgery. In fact, so I had two brain surgeries, uh, and my optic nerve is damaged. So my eyes are mechanically healthy, but my optic nerve isn't working. We don't know what happened. My parents weren't told that I was going to lose my sight or lose as much as I did. They thought I was going to have a slight hearing problem or mobility issues. I think I lost my sight within a few weeks of the first surgery. The first one I had was, I believe, 9 hours, and the second was about 8. So the longest you could kind of push for a 4-year-old. And so I remember to this day how quickly I lost my sight and how scared I was. I basically went from perfect vision to complete zero in a matter of, I don't know, days or a week or a few weeks. And I was in the hospital for at least 2 weeks. My mom was there, sleeping in the hospital there with me. I remember hearing all the kids and all the crying and the parents crying. and thinking to myself too, well, what's going to happen to me? And just the shock, the shock, the disbelief, and and I remember, waking up at night and thinking to myself, oh, I'll get it back. I just have to do this and that. Like, I'll get my sight back. Like, I really want it back. And even the doctors were kind of giving my parents maybe false hope, but we're telling them, oh, yeah, in a few months it should come back, in 6 months it should come back. And it never did. Not certainly not to that extent. Now, a nurse did tell my dad to try color stimulating therapy. And my dad, instead, he would try to like give me a high five and to try to have me forced to look for his hand. So to try to get at least the optic nerve to try to have it work more and stimulate. So at least I have light perception as a result, especially being a developing person. And so I attribute that to that situation to this day, to that sort of my parents not giving up and my dad taking the advice of this nurse, and that she was thinking outside the box. And but yeah, it was hard. It was a shock for everybody. My parents lost a lot of their friends, mainly because it became, oh well, they have a sick child, they need that time to themselves. The community doesn't always know how to deal with something like that, especially my parents from their culture. Once you lose your sight, you're pretty much kind of finished. There isn't much chance of success. And what does the future look like? What can you do? How will you be? Because everything that the world expects of people and our sort of expectations of marriage, relationships, kids, it all goes out the window at that point. So, once I fully lost my sight, and my parents were even trying to explore bioenergy, going to somebody and trying to help, and putting the hand on the back of my head in the heat and just sort of anything. And one of my parents went more the religious route, thinking maybe he did something wrong, or that how can this happen? Everybody grieves and deals with a big change in their own way. And being a child, well, that becomes your new reality. I remember being very sad to this day, and I remember thinking to myself, when I watch TV, I used to think, oh man, before I knew how things would feel like, how they would look like. But now, unless if I'm there, I won't know, because I'm only going to know through touch. And having these realizations. And then, at school, it became, okay, well, how do we work with this? So, when people would introduce themselves, people can visually see like who's who. But in my case, a teacher assistant would say, okay, see if you can understand, if you know from the person's voice who it is. And if I got it right, they'd be like, yeah, excellent, and, try to look upwards towards the person's face and just teaching me all these things. And you adapt, and being in that environment, at least it helped me. I always wanted to be just like anybody else. I wanted to be part of the crowd. My teachers in elementary school would give me pencils to try to do these crossword puzzles in braille, so at least I could feel like I was like any other kid and I could have a pencil and kind of draw. And that was really important to me. And it was sort of it festered this attitude of, you can do anything you want if you just put your mind to it. And so that was my elementary school. And then, junior high and high school provided its own challenges, because then you want to fit in even more and you feel even more isolated from people. And the second challenge then became, mental health as a result, feeling depressed, feeling anxious, feeling like nobody understands, feeling like people have unfair expectations, whether valid or not, but people sometimes making comments, don't have a pity party, but sometimes it's okay to feel, for yourself. And, people try to warp emotions a certain way, what you're supposed to feel and when you're supposed to feel it. Which to me is a big issue. It's not healthy. And I had a very difficult itinerant teacher for the visually impaired for 8 years. Uh, say my luck, and from ages 10 to 18. And he was a very difficult person. I would get anxious at school. I always felt pressure. I always felt like I had to have everything, ready and prepared, even at 13, and if this was me now, I would definitely have dealt with it very differently for my own mental health sake. But, it became even if you have to work 4 times as much as anybody else, you just have to do it and suck it up because, that's your reality and this is how you're going to make friends and maintain friends, you know? And so it takes a toll on you, with a disability, with that, not feeling that self-worth, and it crushes you, and especially there were 10 years that were very, very hard. And in my case, I think because of my disability, maybe it enabled me to sort of to take that same approach. But, I did have other people that would show up in my life. Granted, it felt like not too many at the time, but that would kind of be there at the right time in times when, I would go in and just burst into tears because it was just such a hard day and I couldn't hold emotions in. And teachers and one teacher said to me, they're like, Veronica, do things, for you, not because you feel like, you want to almost show off or be that you feel like you have to be better than everybody else in order for people to like you. That I have to prove myself, improve my
So
self-worth all the time.
so basically, it's like they were telling you it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That one teacher, she said that a few times. And at least I started to foster more of, okay, what do I feel? What do I feel like I want and need, And and yeah, and like that difficult teacher, it was so bad that even with paratranspo, he told me that I absolutely shouldn't take paratransit because, I can walk and I can take the bus. And I remember it took me 2 years to accept the fact when I started working, even though it was over an hour commute, that I can take para to get to work. Within my own self to even accept that fact, even though it wasn't anything major. I was ashamed. And so a lot of that sort of guilt, shame, and just not a good environment. So just toxic and feeling absolutely miserable, to say the least, and not feeling like I had really anybody to go to. So I felt like I only really had myself, and anyway, so over the years, I've met more friends, more people. University was freeing for me because I knew I didn't have the confinement to me was of my teacher assistants. They were great when they were there, but I could feel like, okay, I have a voice now a bit more, I have a bit more freedom. Nobody's standing over my back, giving you that space to sort of breathe,
Okay, hold on,
and
hold
uh
on, hold on.
and
Bring your phone back over. You're to the other side. Right there. Right there.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so over time I started to meet more friends, and I really focused on my studies. I went to university and I took sociology and I graduated, and I really focused on my schoolwork. I did exams. There were services there for accommodations, so mainly for research. For I had a tutor for that, but like I did all of the I would tell them, okay, let's look for, this and that and the other, but it was mainly because it was PDFs, and PDFs aren't necessarily always accessible because how they're tagged. Back then they were even worse. So we would find the articles needed and I would send them off to the coordinator, and then he would, change the formatting to Word, and then I could read them. But I wrote all the 20-page papers myself and everything. And I knew how to get around the university. I knew 9 buildings out of 30, how to get around after I had someone, the orientation and mobility instructor, show me how to, navigate. So, so
You're unstoppable.
sorry, there we go.
You're
S-
unstoppable regardless
yeah,
of you having vision. I don't I don't I
vision
don't
challenge.
Yes, vision challenges. You are still unstoppable. And that's the reason why, like I said, I wanted to have you on here And I keep telling you that, like I said, every Saturday, well, you're not there every Saturday, but for the most part, you are there. But I keep telling you that's the main reason why I respect you so much, is because you don't stop. You don't give up. You keep going. And I wanted you on here because I want people to see you. I want people to hear you. I want people to understand that regardless of what type of challenges you may have, and you were able to see in the beginning, and so this is something that you had to deal with. You had to go through the process. Now I'm pretty sure the process
Many
wasn't
years. It can take many years.
I'm pretty sure
And
it wasn't nice. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't nice.
no.
The hurt, the anger, the
Mm,
confusion, but you made it through, and you work,
yeah.
you you still live.
Yeah. I mean, to me, even though I know we all have our, very dark moments, and for me, I was like, I couldn't, I would think to myself, to be in that state, say, I believe in an afterlife, and to be in that state where I'm just so crushed, but I can't get out of it in a point of no return, and just maybe thinking about all the haunted ghosts and all these things, and I was like, no, for my own well-being, my own sort of value and essence. I I can't be like that. I want to grow, I gotta grow. I have to sort of, get out of this stupor. And this isn't just a mental decision overnight. It's just, it takes a long time, a couple of therapies later, and eventually I would, find people that I could talk to and really share my feelings. And like you said, Suelo, it's okay to not be okay. To be there for others and them for me, and this support network really like helped me and build resilience, and where I can, thrive more. And and so like I said, I graduated university, and now I work. I've been working at this place for the last 3 years and a bit, and I've had my even, anxiety attacks and so on. And I realized even when a lot of fear, when I was in the like almost like the precipice of fear, and I remember thinking to myself, if I'm so afraid of, say, God, in those moments, or dying or what have you, but yet I believe in a loving God, why am I so afraid of it? And then I thought to myself, I need to work through and process fear better. So then I found a woman, who every month I join and we discuss fear and where it comes from, and to get better acquainted with with emotions in general, but especially certain emotions. And I think especially when it's been so, when I've resisted over the years, or when people told me how I should feel, when I should feel, all these things. And now I just sort of feel like I kind of put people in their place, maybe to stand up for myself, but that's where that comes from, and yeah, it builds that thicker skin. And even in those rough days, at least I am more aware, and I'm in a better state than where I was, especially even 10 years ago. But just feeling so stuck, so miserable, and just feeling like things are just working out more over time, and accepting sort of more where I am, what's happening to me, and making things work for me accordingly. So if I want to go out and, join certain communities, and what do I like doing? You know, what do I want to do? Maybe take things one step at a time. I don't have to know things 7 years in advance necessarily, putting less pressure on myself. And these are all important things that one, I feel, has to do for one's own well-being and mental health and self-worth. And it's a lifelong it's a lifelong journey, especially for me, and starting so young. You have to grow into it, and with that process, and become like I've been called a change agent. So I'm pretty good with dealing with change as a result.
That's a good thing though. That's a wonderful thing. I mean, because your life changed, and like drastically.
Yeah.
You know, and people like myself, with the issues of walking, that's something that's very, very easy. to me. And I say that because that's my story of, losing my ability to walk, but losing my ability to see. I take my hat off to you. I commend you. And that's the reason why I'm telling you I respect you so much, because and I tell people, if you think you can tell someone's story better than them, walk in their shoes for 48 hours. And I wouldn't want to walk in your shoes for 48 hours, because I don't have that strength and that courage that you have. So again, thank you, because there's things that you do that a lot of people that can see they won't do.
No. Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
still get out, you still live.
Yeah. I mean, I go to the movies with my friends. They have usually audio described features, so they have like the box that they can give you for most movies. And I can listen to a movie described. Before that wasn't the case, but people would still describe to me. I mean, I did my first ever cruise last year, with one of my family members, and even being there, and for me, just even being there, smelling the smells, feeling, temperature, hearing the waves, in the ocean, swimming in the water, all the other senses, and yeah, I'm grateful for that, and it doesn't cross my mind too often to think like, oh man, I really wish I could see this. Like sometimes it does, but it doesn't linger,
Right.
and but people are afraid. Like people have said to me when I've been even online dating, they're like, if I couldn't see, I wouldn't work. And I'm like, yeah, then you wouldn't be able to, make money and be independent and live. And they said, yeah, I know exactly. And they said, I'd make not a good, blind person. And I think people are stronger than they realize. And I mean, there are people who can't hear or are paralyzed or have certain issues, and you either sink or swim, in those points. And yeah, yeah, like for me, it's not in my nature to sit around all the time at home. I just couldn't. I have to have people to go out with. I'm used to going out to a number of different stores, going to the produce section, picking out the vegetables and doing all these things. And just like I said, living life. Like that's I always had this drive, I want to live life and have fun. Live life to the fullest, I work hard. I'm an achiever. I initiate. I've had good jobs thus far. One was sort of medium, but for the most part, people are often inspired by me and learn a lot from me. Which is really cool. Like I'm very happy to do that, and it's nice to be an inspiration, because so many people say to me, and sometimes they even stop and think, and they're like, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, I just do. I mean, I have to, like, but like even from eating to, how much you have left on your plate to things falling off your fork and sort of going along with it. And yeah, do I feel self-conscious at times? Definitely, but and again, that's part of the process, right? And being open about it, and or just what have you. Yeah, you have to adapt. And again, the process is like the physical, is the emotional, is the mental. True resiliency, will make you stronger.
So
Whatever doesn't break you makes you stronger.
I have a question that I don't think that maybe you might be ready for this though. So do you see yourself as a positive role model?
Yeah, I do. I mean, do I see myself as a hero? No, like I think I'm more modest. I'm not a perfect person, but it seems like I've been a positive role model for other people, and people have been really encouraged and inspired, by me, and they say, if you can do this, then so can I, you know,
So now
and it
do
gets
you
people
understand
going.
do you understand the reason why I wanted you on the podcast now?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's so many people, they want to give up for no reason, and these people, there's nothing wrong with them.
Mm,
They just complain for no reason. Um, and you find the happiness, you find the positive, and you know what? And if you don't like it, you will tell them to, go somewhere.
Yeah, I've had to do that before. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? And knowing one's self-worth and boundaries also is knowing when to stop dealing with toxicity or things that don't serve you. You know, if you're awake at night or you're really upset and things really rub you the wrong way, mainly that means in social circumstances, and it's time to, move on. It can suck and it can hurt, but at least, the more friends you have, the easier it becomes. And again, and also, right, leaving the house, doing things will make you feel better and feeling productive. When it's summertime, I love to be outside a lot, even in our backyard, but I love the sun. I like to swim. I did dance lessons for a few years. I mean, I've done a lot of sports. I mean, I did swimming lessons for 5 years every week. I did downhill skiing for 2 years in grades 6 and 9. I did horseback riding for, I would say, two and a
Wait,
half
you
years.
said downhill
Yeah,
skiing?
I did. I sure did. I did. I did. And I even one time they even had me go around hurdles. But yeah, there was a guide in front of me and a guide behind me, and the guide in front of me had to ski backwards the whole time to make sure for my own safety. But that's what they do, called ski hawks here.
Wow.
So yeah, I know. So I did that for 2 winters. I did cross country running in grade 8. I did piano for 2 years. I played at like little small concerts. It was more for like the students and their families of the teacher. But yeah, like I said, I did horseback riding for, I would say, like pretty much 3 years. I was even learning how to jump. I didn't get to that point because the teacher's schedule changed and I started grade 7. But I was even like doing the jumping saddle and everything and doing the trot poles. And like I said, I did dance. I think I will still continue. I just have to, save up more money. But and I did taekwondo for 3 years at least, and I got 3 medals in the championships here in the city. So I got 2 silvers and a bronze. Um, yeah, I'm sure there's
You
probably
done
even
a
still
lot.
one or two things I haven't done.
Wow. So I wouldn't have never known any of this if we wouldn't be doing this right now. Well, I probably would have learned. I don't know, because
Eventually.
yeah, but I mean, it's like 2 years in the clubhouse street, 2 plus years in the clubhouse streets, and I'm just now learning all of this stuff. So it's a wonderful thing, and I'm so grateful that we are here in this moment, because that just lets me know that when people say, "I cannot, I can't, I can't," it's really a mind thing.
Yeah, yeah,
You
I
went
agree.
downhill skiing?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, two
That's something
winters,
that I
cold, icy, and all. And I
but
never went into a tree, which I'm quite proud of and I'm happy. That shows either how cautious I was or the guys that they were really good. So I
exactly.
mean, my sister's ex had me try snowboarding once, but it was on a small hill. I mean, I've done curling and I won a laptop when I did it once or twice. I mean, I've tried even a few, like how many things I've tried here and there. I mean, in gym at school, like I even, when we did the different sports, some of them I did, but I did like badminton, but it was always I could only serve and my teacher assistant would catch, and it was kind of, unfair to her because only I could serve, but she didn't mind, I mean, so it was almost like a one person on two, but I was still there, a part of the class,
Right.
and it was made so. I went to a regular school. I didn't go to a special school. So everything had to be accommodated. I had to learn to advocate for myself. My teachers always said, they said, advocate. If you have to change an assignment, go and talk with a teacher. See what else you can do, you know? And that was always, always a mantra, nonstop. Go and talk to them. Advocate for yourself. Always.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful that we're having this conversation, because now when people come to me and they're gonna be like, "Suelo, I can't do this." No, yeah, Miss Veronica, I want you to know you just opened up a whole nother can of
The
yes,
challenge is on.
yes, yes. So, wow. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the Clubhouse family. And again, for people that don't know what Clubhouse is an app on the Google Play. And we've been in there, self-care awareness, a little bit over 2 years. Um, I've been on
Mhm.
Clubhouse myself almost 4 years now. But yeah,
Mm.
it's
I've
real
been on
nice.
since February 2021, and I think even that year I joined a few rooms of yours, and then things changed, and I turned off the notifications, and you know, uh, you'll find difficult people everywhere, but in that, I grew even more. So, and I was, wondering about you. I remember being like, "Where's Swillo?" And then one day I saw your room, and I was like, "Oh, I have to go in. I haven't been in there for such a long time," because you always put in such a good word for me and would always smile and be happy when I joined. So of course I felt, good and welcomed and happy in the space.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know what? That's the one thing I really try to make everyone feel at home because, again, we never know. We never know what people are
Mm,
going through, and we never know how that person's day went. And if we don't make people feel loved or make them feel comfortable, that might be the very one thing that sends that person over the edge, and they might try to
mm,
end it all because, like I said, we don't know how their day went.
mm.
So, I really like to treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't want someone talking at me crazy. I don't want someone talking down to me and not realizing that they're talking down to me or at me and not talking to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's I am the way that I am.
And I know even for me, like when I'm at work, like even today, I was messaging with a coworker on Teams, and it wasn't like a disagreement, but she just was like, "Can we chat?" And she called me on Teams. And with some people, they will just call me. We'll have a conversation, and she even said to me, she said, "Thank you for the chat," and I said, "No problem," and at least you walk away usually feeling better because you have that communication,
Hmm.
if especially if both people are willing, if they don't shut down, walk away or become really angry. And if they need their own space, then I guess they need their own space. But it's just it was nice, and at least afterwards, I felt better after that conversation myself. You know,
Right.
so yeah.
Okay. Well, like I say, I always learn a lot from you. I really do. I learn a lot from you. The main thing that I can say that I always take away when we meet on Saturdays, or even if we just talk on the phone, um, regardless of whatever I may go through, life is not that hard. It's only hard if I make it. It's only hard if I give up. If I stop trying is when it gets hard. So I want to thank you for helping me understand that.
Yeah. And I'm glad to be here too. And honestly, like the days that I was in a better mood, then that's when I had the motivation to say, "Oh, I'm gonna look up this, or I'm gonna look up that, or what else do I want to do now?" Even in those moments of sunshine, having that motivation. And again, I'm pretty opportunistic. I like to learn. I like to talk, with people. So all of that together, helps me. But you know, um, just yeah, know what works for you, and just like I said, go out, live life, and have fun, and just yeah, be yourself. And being gentle with oneself is a big part of it too. So
We're
yeah,
gonna get ready to get out of here because we've been on here for almost 35 minutes, 34:05.
yeah,
But before we get ready to get out of here, we had this conversation a little bit earlier, well, right before we started. And something that I want people also to understand when you are going through something, whether it's a disability or a sickness, or it could be, a financial situation. And, we talk about this quite often when it comes to being spiritual versus the religious aspect of everything. A lot of people want to say that if you're not religion or religious, that's the reason why things happen the way that they
mm,
do, blase, blase, whatever, whatever. But I don't feel that way, because religion, it keeps you bound, it keeps you stagnant because there's no eye-opening opportunities, because if you don't do it this way, then you're going to hell, and if you do it that way, then nobody's going to respect you. So out of everything that you have encountered in life, um, with your faith, with your belief, and everything else, when it comes to the spiritual side and the religion side, do you have any words for people to help them? Because again, the religion and spiritual, well, if you believe, if you do this, then God's going to restore. But if you don't, and you know where I'm going with that, because a lot of people, and then then you get people saying, well, you know what, I'm just not going to believe in God because I don't have whatever, my ability to walk back, my vision, my hearing, or whatever. So do you have any words, positive words, encouraging words before we get out of here?
Yeah, so, people have tried to explain, especially the older generations. They would say, how can a loving God allow a child to lose their sight? And they just go in circles, right? Because they're like they're conflicted. And people take the Bible at, face value. Let's remember that those were, humans that wrote the Bible, and it was spread orally at first. And I was more religious for a couple of years when I was in junior high, from one of my parents, but over time, um, and maybe this was, God or the universe or what have you, showing me the way. And over time, I started becoming more spiritual. And with my anxiety and the fear, like I said, I started having these waking up moments where I was like, if I believe in loving God in a more positive afterlife, why am I so afraid? And it's hurting me more than it's helping me. It's keeping me paralyzed almost from fear and hurting me. And then I acknowledged, I said, okay, well, fear is gonna be there, but there's also hope, and at some point peace. That's ultimately what we want. So over time I started becoming more spiritual because religion is very self-condemning. I should have done this or don't do this, and some of my decisions as a teenager maybe happened because for religious reasons, which now sometimes makes me a little upset, I'm not gonna lie. But I said, I can still do things, it's not too late. But and a lot of younger people now are more spiritual, but spirituality is just the belief, I would say, in, you know, um, love, hope, peace, and just not being confined to certain ideologies. You have to be flexible. Just like you're resilient, you have to be flexible and open to things and with things because it's just not going to work. It's going to be too stringent. You're going to become worse emotionally and worse mental health. You'll become more judgmental of yourself, of others, more angry, more closed in, and it's just not gonna be um, healthy, and it's not gonna work for you or for anybody. And I've seen it happen to people. So that's my those are my thoughts on that.
And you know what? And I thank you for that. Thank you very much. I hope that someone can get something out of, especially this segment, because I really feel that you are you are an eye opener to everyone. And the reason why I say that is because losing your vision, and you don't stop. You just keep going. You were out in the open, painting. You're doing all of these things that, again, people that are well able bodies, they make excuses on why they cannot get out and do things. So hopefully this will help someone to let people know that there's no stopping. There's no stopping you. There's no excuses. There's no reason why we can't get out and do things, even though we want to keep making excuses. But Veronica, thank you for not making excuses. Thank you for not giving up. And thank you for being the light to a lot of people that are full of darkness that says, I can't, I cannot, I cannot. And then when you ask them why they can't do it, they don't have a legitimate reason.
Mm,
They don't. It's just, I don't know because I was told I couldn't. Or I don't know. No one in my family ever accomplished that before.
mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter. You're saying
No.
I can do any and everything that I put my mind to.
Yeah. And we're on this earth, we say for a reason. We may not know why, or maybe one day we'll know. But you know, we're here and you make the most out of the situation you have. And to make things better and more livable. And that's just the way to do it. You just got to do it, for your own sake, I would say. And I think I remember hearing as a final thing, I don't know, I think it was last year, even on Clubhouse or something, where somebody was reading kind of like a short story of as though there was a mom at the store and with two kids, and they both had glow sticks, and one of the children, I'm gonna butcher some of it, but I think took one of the glow sticks of the other and really broke it. And the other one said, "Why did you break it? You broke it so much it doesn't work anymore." And then it was like the voice of God said that, um, "I broke you so that you could be a brighter light, so you could glow brighter. So basically, by me breaking you, you can glow stronger." And
Hmm.
that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
So-
I just put a post on Facebook yesterday, day before, that when I became disabled, it actually became a blessing. I didn't understand that it was a blessing in the beginning because I was confused, I was hurt, and I didn't understand. But now I understand it's really a blessing. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
thank you.
yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for your share, and again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the Clubhouse family. Because I don't, like I said, I don't know if you realize, but you do inspire a lot of people because you don't give up. So I would love to have you back as a guest again, any given day. And I know it did take me a while to get you on here, but I just wanted to make sure that it looked a little more professional than what it did when we first started out. Because it
The
was it,
timing is just got to be right sometimes. Got it ready, got it prepared, and then you're good.
yeah,
Takes
okay,
practice runs.
exactly.
Usually nothing is perfect the first time, usually.
Yeah, but and you know what? We're still gonna be working on this even next year because next year I'll be like, you know what? I should, yeah. But we'll
We all do that, I know.
yeah. But again, we're gonna get ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
But like I said, thank you very, very much. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being open. And first and foremost, thank you for not giving up. Because if you would have given up and been angry, then we wouldn't be right here doing this podcast. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that to me because it's good for me to hear that affirmation and that even my suffering and what I went through was not in vain, even just to me.
Yeah. And that's good. That is so good that everything's working out. Everything's
Yeah.
working out. But and again, I just hope that you do come back more because you really don't understand what type of inspiration you are to people because you don't give up. So hopefully you can
Mm.
come back and it doesn't even matter because I'm always available. I don't work, so you
Yeah,
know, yeah.
that's good.
So just let me
That's a
know
good
and
choice.
we can do this again. We can let people know. Don't give up, keep going, and that's
Yeah,
it.
awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you and glad to be here.
All right, thank you, and you have a wonderful night. And until we meet again, everybody stay safe. And I'm gonna say this: don't give up because we all have a purpose. We all have a destiny, and we all have people looking up to us. Even though we may not see that, we may not understand that because Veronica doesn't. I don't even think she knew that I looked up to her the way that I do. But anyway, just keep going and don't give up. Love you out of life on purpose for your purpose. Let's get out and work that purpose. Till we meet again.